Hey guys, Impractical Gaming, and welcome back to another installment of the free indie games that I think you should play. Now, it's been a while since I last done this. I think early November was probably the last time I'd done this type of video. And the main reason for that being, well, the indie games I was playing just weren't very good. And I didn't think it was fair for me to suggest games that weren't up to standard, so I thought I'd give it a bit of time and then try and suggest you games that I genuinely thought you would like. This time around the games are short, sweet, with simple mechanics, and can be completed in under 30 minutes. Now they do come with their problems however, which I will get into, but generally very enjoyable play. As usual, I'll leave the links to the Steam pages in the description below so that you guys can check them out for yourselves. So, let's get into it. First we have My Friend is a Raven by 2-Star Games. A point-and-click, search and collect kind of game that tasks you with finding different objects around the house to please your friend, in inverted commas, the Raven. The basic saying is the world has turned into turmoil and you seem to be the last human left, and this is all down to the Raven's antics. Now it's your job to find out what happened, why it happened, and scour the apartment for clues that could lead the Raven to telling you why. But that's essentially the entire premise of the game, which doesn't sound like much because it's not, but there are other things in the game that made me put it on this list. The game space isn't very big, so you only have a couple of rooms and a limited inventory to work with, but despite that it's fairly difficult to find everything you need, because you only get one chance at everything you click. Once you're done searching, you speak to the Raven and unlock one of 4 endings based on what you found. Some are good, and some lead to this absolutely bone-chilling sound that honestly no one should have to sit through. And I don't mean that in a bad way. The sound design of this game is really good, and with a set of headphones in, can really immerse you into this world. I didn't feel comfortable, I always felt on edge and uneasy, which is how these games should be. To add to that, the art style definitely adds to this feeling I kept getting throughout the game. It's a different art style to what I usually see in indie games, but the rough sketchbook, black and white aesthetic is very suited to My Friend is a Raven. If I had to criticize it however, I do feel it's way too short and it could do with some more fleshing out. I also found it quite annoying that once you've clicked something, you can't investigate it again. So if you want to go back to it, you can't, which means you have to start the whole playthrough again as there is no save function in the game. And with the clues not being particularly intuitive and the fact you can't skip conversations or text, this made it very frustrating on the last couple of playthroughs. If they fix those issues and add a bit more to the story and the play area, then it could truly be an incredible game because the potential is there and I do recommend it. Just don't play it at full volume like I did. Next up we have Starfetch's Pilot by Svavel Stikan, definitely one of the weirder of the 3 indie games on this list, and that was pretty evident from the colourful, seizure-inducing title screen that they show you. In the side-scrolling action-adventure pilot minigame, you play as a lowly clerk who hates his job, finds life meaningless and boring, and wants to be something more. You start off doing menial jobs in a local convenience store like taking out the trash and hitting pigs with a stick. Just when you think life couldn't get any worse, you get recruited by a strange person in a cloak and sword who acts like this sort of vigilante / anti-hero who plays by their own rules and recruits you. After reluctantly accepting, you join the crew and go off on this weird adventure together, swinging your sword and fighting enemies. Now, looking at it plainly, this game isn't easy on the eye, but it does have some light humour and a kind of charm to it that I liked. The noises the characters make, in particular the owner of the shop, definitely made me giggle.
Hot dog, baby.
I'm also fond of the simple walking animation that looks very rough and sluggish, but it's funny as it works with the whole demeanour of the main character. I do have one big complaint however, and that is the controls. They feel very clunky and not as responsive as I would expect from a standard indie game. They're also not intuitive because I was unaware at all that I could swing my bat around using the mouse, or even use the mouse whatsoever, which led me to walking backwards for half the game, and dying almost instantly at the first phase of combat. I also managed to crash the game once, and pretty easily, considering all it took was me jumping out of the world space and falling to my death. This all seems very clunky and unfinished, which is expected as it's a pilot, but it's odd how some things are well done and others just aren't. Like, the cinematic intro to the game is good and the music for the game is top notch and really made the experience with the jazzy / Backstreet vibes it was giving off. The pixel art I thought was fine, it just didn't have the same effect as other pixel art games like The Escapists or Terraria, but for what they were trying to do, it did its job. For those reasons, plus the humour involved in the game, I recommend at least giving it a try, and hopefully these issues will be fixed in the full game when that comes out. And finally we have Grimm's Follow by Ghost Hunter. This spooky freeware RPG isn't one that I was expecting to like, but it definitely left an impression on me when I played it. At the start of the game, you've already died and you're trying to find your brother Timmy, who's also somewhere in the afterlife. You play as Lavender, a Reaper who's been initiated as a newbie into this society called Grimm's Hollow. Your job as a Reaper is to deliver ghosts, people whose spirit is too strong and frenzied, making them unwilling to pass on. When you encounter ghosts, you find them with abilities you accrue throughout the game, or just by swinging your scythe with a timed attack in a kind of turn-based combat scenario. In comparison to the first two games, this one seems a lot more polished in terms of the story, the controls, and the setting of the world you're in. It looked to me as if Grimm's Hollow is heavily inspired by old school Pokemon in terms of the movement of Lavender and the other Reapers, the type of combat involved, and the pixelated art style. Except they tried to add their own flair by adding humor and wit, and added timing to the combat so that it's not always a sure thing. The sound used has like a symphonic, melancholic tone that you find in games like Undertale, and that could be the inspiration for the choice of music by the devs. The game plays well, flows well, and is really quick to get through. If you have some time after work and just need a quick play to take your mind off of it, then you should definitely consider Grimm's Hollow. Well, that's it from me. If you enjoyed it, leave a like, subscribe, and make sure to leave a comment down below about what you guys thought about these 3 indie games. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.